Firefighters on the ground at the Stagecoach Fire tell me all the active flame is up on the top of the ridge, which has turned this fight into an all-out aerial assault. But now, they have to get out of the car and deliver the mail an extra 20 inches or so. It's not a long difference, but it is the difference between Brian getting his mail and getting nothing. 20-foot pine trees now stand where the old sawmill once was, and even though those trees have grown, this town hasn't. And you can see it's moved the road to the side a solid foot. This side of the road, even right over here, you still see the smoke smoldering up from the ground, and migrants from the caravan are coming here to this park in Tijuana that's been turned into a shelter. Because you do understand that when you take something of someone else's without asking, that is, by definition, stealing.
No, I didn't look at that at all. Big
question is, why are so many steps being fast-tracked in the process of these bills? We came here to the state capitol to ask that very question. All of Elizabeth's stuff has been on the sidewalk since Wednesday, the same day this eviction order was issued that says the landlord needs to keep her stuff safe for 15 days. I hate to say this, but they've made no progress in the sense that the fire is 0% contained. A year after massive twin earthquakes, Ridgecrest is telling a story of triumph, but here in Trona, just down the road, it's been a year of fear. For Tom Zachary, elevating the community is an art form, and when he gets inspired, he just can't help it.
Anytime I see a wall that I can put something on it to not only educate the people, but to make that wall better looking, I'm all for it.
And no wall is too fat for Tom. In fact, if he had it his way, he'd paint every wall in Bakersfield.
This is my contribution to the city by making it beautiful one wall at a time.
And the wall he's painting now is one that he's had his eye on for a while.
Yeah, I've been all over the world, and everybody knows these two guys.
A 37-foot tribute to Merle Haggard and Buck Owens. The two invented the Bakersfield sound and got us the nickname the Nashville of the West. Tom figured since the two of them put Bakersfield on the map, he should put them on a wall.
I think it's a real feather in Bakersfield's cap, and I think they need to be seen. I think they need to be acknowledged for what they did for us.
For Tom, it's a chance to paint over what in his eyes is a tragedy. Not much is named for the two. Buck has the Crystal Palace, Merle has the downtown post office, and that's about it. Tom is hoping this mural gives the two the recognition they deserve for creating Bakersfield. He's also hoping it could be an educational tool for everyone in the city, a chance for them to take a few steps back and look at the big picture.
As a kid, you all always your babies.
Coming home to a happy family.
There's so many kids, I tell you.
Is something a lot of us take for granted.
So Piper, Luna, Bubba, Midnight.
Jason Thorwegan thought it was impossible.
Especially when you don't have one. You know, I've never celebrated Christmas. I've never celebrated anything with a family.
That's because, much like his 4 dogs, before he lived here, Jason was neglected and abused.
I had been molested multiple times. I'd been beaten a lot more than multiple times.
After a brutal childhood in the system, Jason became homeless his entire adult life. He's lived on the streets for 32 years until now, and parked in his driveway is a reminder of how far he's come. So this used to be your home?
Yeah, for quite a few years. It was backpack, sleeping bag, and dog. You just walked.
Even though it's a small space that Jason can crawl through in just a few seconds, he says having any space to call his own made all the difference in the world, and he wants to share that with others, specifically the 10,000 homeless veterans living in California. Jason's fixing vans to give to them.
I put in a new filter.
He says where most people see a hunk of junk, he sees a place that people can live, a place that people can feel safe.
I see one of our nation's finest having a home, having a roof over his head, you know, having some security.
Because Jason says if he has 4 walls, veterans should at least have a door.
Yeah, Aegis has been around since 1970. I took it over 8 years ago. Arms up.
For Docs Chavez, owning the oldest tuxedo shop in Bakersfield was a perfect fit, but this wasn't just a business decision.
It's a staple in Bakersfield, but more than that, it's, our legacy, the family legacy.
Unfortunately for Docs, owning a tuxedo shop during the coronavirus pandemic is anything but tailor-made. Schools closed, proms were canceled, and 225,000 American couples put their weddings on the shelf. With very few customers, Docs is spending most of his time in the back with the inventory.
A lot of the stuff, would have been rented out for weddings, definitely this time of year.
Docs says he lost at least 50 weddings to the pandemic. And if that doesn't sound like a lot, think about it in these terms.
So yeah, one wedding canceled, that's, not just one person. That's usually 8 to 9 guys. And one wedding, you get 50 of those, and it adds up really quick.
With most of California going back into the purple tier, Docs is now worried he's going to lose a second prom season, but he's trying to stay positive, hoping that soon enough there will be a night to shine.
We don't quit, we keep going, but yeah, we're not gonna close.